words, but don't be afraid to also include simplistic language. There's something else tagging along, they're finding, doctor, along with the group A strep. You don't have to say the epithelial cells. If you can say it and you want to, that's fine. In the throat. Good enough for me. There's 2 bugs, doctor. Used to be just group A strep. You did your test, you find out there's group A strep with your rapid strep test. You take care of that with a drug that works fairly well with this group A strep. But we're finding out now, not conjecture, not philosophy, we're finding beta-lactamase producing MCAT mostly in the throat. And I like the concept of a bodyguard or shield, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Sean Nagelson gave me some tips, though, a couple weeks ago. He said, go to Google Images. Never went there. I've been using some other source. You can find anything in Google Images. So I thought, Sean's always right. I'll Google 2 bugs. Didn't work really well for me. Privately cursed Sean out. Thought, well, let's see if he's 2 for 2. I'll go with bodyguard or shield. Bingo. That's the picture I want. And you know who that is? That's the tough guy? That's MCAT. It's not letting that amoxicillin get through it to get to the group A strep. Group A strep's hiding behind MCAT. It's not amoxicillin's fault that they can't beat up group A strep. There's a bodyguard or shield that's preventing it. And there's no way that amoxicillin gets through MCAT, because the one thing we know about MCAT is that it always produces what? And amoxicillin or penicillin or any of the cillins can't deal with beta-lactamase producing pathogens. Now that I'm at that point where I've introduced that concept, I don't need to take it much further. I need to find out if this logical, scientific explanation that I've just given is plausible. And so one of my 2 key questions I'm going to cover with you today is, doctor, could that be plausible? If you like the word possible, that's fine too. Can this be why you find yourself needing another therapy, doctor? Possibility of co-pathogens, something else tagging along, simplistic language? How would a beta-lactamase producing pathogen affect the efficacy of, say, a penicillin or amoxicillin? Hopefully a light's going off slightly. Even a slight dim bulb I'd go for at that point. I'll even take the response being, Jim, it's a stretch, but I guess it's possible. That's fine. To me, that's the crack in the door, and that's all I need. All I need is recognition that even if it could be a long shot, but I guess anything's possible. I'm home free at that point. I know I'm home free at that point, because once someone admits possibility or plausibility, or even a fathomable chance of it happening, I know I can sell Suprax to fulfill that need. So now the second question comes up that's a key question. I already got to the point of plausibility. So if this copathogenicity, doctor, or coaggregation can be happening, 2 bugs there, what attributes would you want in an antibiotic to combat? Let's pause and think about that for a second. They know from the rapid strep test there's group A strep. We've just introduced the possibility of a beta-lactamase producing pathogen, most likely MCAT. I just covered it on the previous minute with the doctor. What do you think the only logical answer is to the question of if this is going on? What would you want in an antibiotic if you could just pick its properties? What should the answer be? That's the answer. Something that kills both. It's the only logical answer. They know there's group A strep there, and there could be, some of the time, a beta-lactamase producing strain. Boy, sounds to me, as a doctor, I'm really covered if I have something that deals with both. So Suprax kind of acts as a, I guess I'll call it a safety net, or even a backup plan. And I thought about what I do in my life, and I'm sure what you do in your lives. There are things that we do daily for reasons that we don't think are necessarily going to happen, but we do them just to play it safe. I'll give you 3 examples for me. I'm sure you can relate to some on your own. Number 1, I live alone. I live in a house. When I leave my house, I close the door. I also lock it. Now, I don't think it's very natural that someone will stumble up my steps and try my door. But just to play it safe, I want to make it even more, I want to be even more sure. So I lock the door also. Backup plan. Secondly, I drive to Baltimore a lot. I have a Ford. I haven't had a flat tire since I was 19. But, just in case, I want to know that that spare tire is there. Do I think that it's likely that I'm going to get a flat the next time to Baltimore? No. Do I think it's somewhat of a chance? Not really. Do I think it's possible? Yes. So that's my backup plan. Thirdly, I'm running a class in most cases. It would haunt me to be late for a class. I know the alarm. I know exactly. I could do it in the dark. I've been in the hotel 200 nights. I know how to work it. I know I can call and get a wake-up call. So I set the alarm at the Renaissance Hotel, but I also bring my $3.99 or $4.99 backup alarm. It's with me here. I set it for the same time, just in case something happens with this one. Now again, do I really think I'm going to need this clock? No. Do I think it's possible that I might need it? Really, really unlikely, to be honest with you. But I still pack it absolutely every time. So even if something is remotely possible, we have backup plans in our life. Think about that with soup wraps. Doesn't have to be MCAD or even beta lactamase producing H flu can happen too, in group A strep or in pharyngitis and tonsillitis. But you do things as a backup plan. So once a physician realizes the logic of needing a drug that can solve both pathogens, I just need to fill that need. Now, if the attention is just on the group A strep, you know the page, right? Second page inside. 94 versus 77% bacterial cure. This side. That's a whooping by soup wraps if we're only dealing with group A strep. However, if that plausible possibility comes up, soup wraps wins 99.9% to 9.6% of the time. Amoxicillin and penicillin stink against anything beta lactamase producing. At that point in time, I think we need to recap some agreed upon points. And as you heard earlier, I want to find out intentions going forward. Now that we discussed this, doctor, you tell me exactly where soup wraps will be utilized for your pharyngitis and tonsillitis patients. I want to get feedback from them. I want to know those intentions. I just covered some logic. I covered some science. I asked them questions about possibility and plausibility. They said themselves that something to cover both would be a smart choice. I'm fulfilling that need. So now that I've covered it, I want to know what intentions are. If I get a weak answer, well, my tougher cases, I might go to it every now and then. If I get an answer like that, I want to stress the fact that all these glosses, doctor, don't mean anything to you. What means a lot more to you is your own experience. And the only way that I can get there is that prescribing yourself leads to the experience will lead to your trust and confidence with soup wraps, and that trust and confidence will lead to more prescribing. That's just a fact of life. They'll agree with that. And all I want to know is what would be a fair evaluation to begin that process in gaining your own experience. I want a specific number, I want something measurable. Because I want to be able to close for it. Will you follow through with that? And it gives me ammunition to hold them accountable on the next call. So some key points to remember. And these will be on your cheat sheets. I want to know their go-to drug for pharyngitis and tonsillitis. Go-to, main, initial, whatever you want to call it. I want to find out why, along with them, amoxicillin might not be cutting it anymore. What their perception of that is. I want to introduce the concept of co-pathogenicity, and I want to romance it because if I would do it right in the office, it kind of acts as a shield, a bodyguard, an umbrella. Introduce that concept, and I want to determine if they think that it's even possible that this could be going on. I want to ask if plausible, then what attributes would you want in a drug? It's a perfect prescription to get to the point where you hear that need and fill with soup wraps. Dorothy always said, you got to go around the presentation. So, we've made our way around, and there's more cash coming up. Super apps.